The human soldier stood on the edge of the landing platform watching the alien city below. The air was thick with tension. He had trained for years for missions like this. But nothing could fully prepare him for the responsibility of protecting someone so important. The convoy they were guarding carried diplomats from different planets. But one passenger stood out: the young alien princess. Her presence was quiet, almost fragile, yet there was a sense of authority in her calm gaze. He could tell she was not used to the dangers surrounding her. The mission briefing had been clear. The region was unstable, and threats from hostile factions were real. Attacks could come without warning, and the team had to be ready to respond in seconds. The soldier knew that even one mistake could cost lives, not just human lives, but alien lives too. He watched as the princess moved through the platform, her small entourage keeping close, but she seemed curious and unafraid. He admired her bravery, but he also worried. She did not fully understand the risks yet, and he silently promised himself that he would do everything to keep her safe. As the convoy prepared to depart, the soldier checked his equipment again, making sure his weapons and communications were ready. He had to trust his instincts more than anything else. The alien security systems were advanced, but nothing could replace the intuition he had developed from years of field experience. His eyes scanned every corner, every shadow, every unusual movement. Something deep inside told him that danger could come at any moment. The princess approached a railing to look at the city below. She seemed fascinated by the lights and the movement of vehicles far below. The soldier stayed close, careful not to appear overbearing, but ready to act. He thought about the countless stories of humans protecting others in impossible situations. He did not seek glory, but he understood that sometimes duty meant putting oneself in harm's way without hesitation. He took a deep breath and allowed a small sense of calm to settle over him. His heart was steady, but his mind was alert. Every second mattered, and he knew that the next few hours could define his life in ways he could not yet imagine. The princess glanced at him, curiosity in her eyes. He simply nodded, reassuring her without words. She did not need to know the depth of the danger yet. He would protect her, whatever it took, because that was what someone had to do. The human soldier walked alongside the convoy as it moved through the city streets, senses sharp. The princess stayed close to her advisors, but she often glanced around, curious about the world around her. Her small smile when she noticed a street performer briefly relaxed the tension in the air. The soldier allowed himself a small smile too, but his eyes never stopped scanning the rooftops and alleys for any sign of danger. Hours passed with nothing unusual. But the soldier knew that danger did not always announce itself. Something in his gut warned him to stay alert. He noticed a glint of metal on a rooftop several blocks ahead, catching the sunlight at a strange angle. His hand instinctively moved to the side of his weapon. He signaled subtly to the team leader, who adjusted their formation. The princess noticed the slight change in the soldier's posture and asked if he was all right. He gave her a reassuring nod, keeping his expression calm. He could not let fear reach her. The convoy slowed near a marketplace. Crowds of aliens filled the streets, their voices a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. The soldier focused on a high vantage point overlooking the main road. Through his binoculars, he caught sight of a dark figure partially hidden behind some crates. It was too far to confirm, but the figure's stance seemed unnatural, tense, and deliberate. His instincts screamed that this was no ordinary passerby. He moved closer to the princess, subtly guiding her behind a protective barrier of the convoy's transport vehicle. He explained quietly to his team that they might have a sniper or someone observing from a distance. Communication was quick and precise. Every team member knew their role. The princess watched silently, her expression a mix of curiosity and worry. She did not understand everything he said, but she trusted him completely. Minutes felt like hours. Every passing second made the soldier more certain that the threat was real. He could see the shadows shifting in ways that did not match the sun or the movement of the crowd. He mentally prepared for the possibility of immediate action. The princess stood beside him, still calm but attentive. She asked why he looked so serious. He gave her a small smile and said, "Sometimes being careful is the only way to keep people safe." He did not tell her that in moments like this, a single second could decide life or death. He only hoped his instincts would not fail. The quiet tension shattered in an instant. A sharp sound echoed from the rooftops, barely audible over the crowd, and the soldier saw the flash of a sniper rifle. Instinct took over before thought. He threw himself in front of the princess just as the bullet streaked toward her. Pain exploded through his shoulder, and he felt himself stagger, but he held his ground. Keeping her out of harm's way, the princess gasped, her eyes wide with shock. She barely had time to react before the soldier crumpled slightly, using his body to shield her. Around them, the convoy team reacted immediately. Alien security units took precise actions, and within moments, the sniper was neutralized. The street returned to a tense silence, broken only by the soldier's heavy breathing. The princess knelt beside him, her small hands hovering uncertainly, unsure how to help. He looked at her with a weak smile, trying to hide the pain. "You're safe," he said, his voice strained but steady. "That's what matters." She shook her head, her eyes filled with tears. "Why did you do that?" "You could have been killed." He grimaced, pressing a hand to the wound. "Because someone had to," he said simply. There was no pride in his words, only a calm sense of duty. The princess struggled to understand, but she felt the weight of the human spirit in that moment, the courage to act without hesitation. To protect life, even at great personal cost, medics arrived quickly and began tending to him. The pain was sharp, but the soldier's mind stayed focused on the princess. He reassured her again, reminding her to stay calm. The alien advisors moved her to safety, but she stayed close, unwilling to leave his side completely. Other members of the convoy watched in awe. They had seen humans in action before, but the selflessness, the instinctive bravery, and the quick decision-making of this one soldier left a lasting impression. He had risked his life without thinking about reward or recognition, only to protect someone vulnerable. The princess, though shaken, began to understand that heroism did not always come in grand gestures. Sometimes it came in a single act, in a split second. Driven by responsibility and care, as he was lifted to the medical unit, he gave her one last reassuring look. She met it with a mixture of gratitude and awe. The moment would remain with her forever. A reminder that courage could come from the most unexpected places, and that humans, in their quiet, determined way, could stand as guardians for others even across worlds. The human soldier woke in a small, brightly lit medical room. Machines beeped softly, monitoring his vitals. His shoulder and chest ached, but the pain was bearable, and he felt relief knowing that the princess had been safe. The medics moved quickly and efficiently, adjusting bandages and checking his condition. Even though he had been trained to face danger, he had not expected to feel the gratitude of being alive quite like this. Through the glass, saw the princess standing quietly in the observation area. Her expression was serious, a mixture of concern and something he could not quite name. She had insisted on seeing him despite her advisor's protests. When he noticed her, he gave a small nod and a weak smile, letting her know he was all right. She returned it with a subtle, almost shy smile of her own. Once he was stabilized, the medics allowed her to come closer. She asked softly, "Why did you do it?" "You didn't have to risk your life for me." He shifted slightly, wincing at the pain, and replied simply, "Because someone had to." "It's what you do when you see someone in danger." She seemed to study him, trying to understand what made a human act with such instinctive courage. There were no promises of reward, no expectation of recognition. Alethis made in a split second. When life or death hung in the balance, she remained there for a while, quietly observing him as he recovered. The soldier tried to lighten the mood with small jokes and stories, but the princess was more interested in listening than laughing. She asked about his training, his missions, and what made him ready to act without hesitation. He answered honestly, explaining that humans often rely on instinct and a sense of responsibility to guide their actions. Over the next few days, Soldier regained his strength, and the princess visited often. Their conversations were simple but meaningful, building a bond founded on respect and trust. The other members of the convoy began to recognize the quiet influence he had on her, how his calm and determined presence reassured everyone around. Through it all, he never claimed heroism or glory. He simply focused on being ready, on protecting those who could not protect themselves, and on living up to the small but important promise he had made, that someone had to keep her safe. Weeks passed, and the human soldier regained full strength. The convoy had moved on to other regions, but the story of his sacrifice had spread quickly. Aliens and humans alike spoke of the soldier who risked everything to save the princess. For him, it was never about recognition or fame. It was about doing what was right. Yet, the impact of his actions rippled far beyond that one moment. The princess invited him to join her in a small ceremony, honoring the team that had protected the convoy. She spoke of courage and loyalty, and when she mentioned his name, the audience fell silent, listening intently. She explained to her people that heroism often came from quiet, selfless decisions, and humans could teach them much about bravery and responsibility. The soldier remained humble, offering only a nod and a small smile. He had done what anyone should have done in that situation. Later, the princess spent time with him privately. She asked more about his experiences, wanting to understand the human perspective on duty and sacrifice. He shared stories of his training and missions, emphasizing the importance of instincts and the willingness to act when no one else could. She listened carefully, absorbing lessons that would influence her leadership and the way she treated others in her kingdom. The bond between them grew stronger, built on trust and mutual respect. He had protected her not for reward, but because someone had to. That simple truth left a lasting impression. She began advocating for stronger collaboration between humans and her people, inspired by the courage she had witnessed. His actions had sown seeds of unity that reached far beyond the battlefield. One evening, they stood together, looking at the stars above the alien city. The princess spoke softly, reflecting on how a single act of bravery could change the lives of many. The soldier nodded, understanding that life was full of choices, and sometimes the right choice meant putting others first. The story of that day, of the sniper round and the human who shielded her, became a tale shared across planets. It reminded everyone that courage was not measured by strength alone, but by the willingness to act when it mattered most. As they parted ways, both felt the quiet satisfaction of a promise kept. He had protected her, and she had learned the true depth of human bravery. That day would remain in their memories forever, a testament to the power of selflessness, trust, and the extraordinary lengths one could go to protect life, no matter the world it came from.